Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
He's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You're the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Tuesday, we're here today. We're going to do our thing. We got American Anchor Baby coming at you. 12 o'clock today, October 3rd, Tuesday. Lovely day. Great shows on the Bond Network, which I'm a part of. Getting calls. Don't need to answer that right now. But great shows today. Hake Report, 9 a.m. Joel Friday on Tuesday at 11 a.m. every Tuesday. So great shows today. Now we're going to get into American Anchor Baby. And I want to continue a little bit of this saga with, let me pull up my show. What was I talking about again? What am I doing? What's my whole show about again? Let me pull it up. I want to continue a little bit of this saga with the government shutdown. Very interesting things going on there. Some foreshadowing. Some demonstration of human nature going on in politics. It's great. We're going to get into all of that. Very interesting. And how there really is, and I'm not the only one saying this, but there really is no effort to clean house because there is no motivation. It's, in fact, strategically, it's not good strategy to actually clean things up, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you today as well. We'll get into all that. And your calls, 888-775-3773 if you want to jump on the line. I see your calls coming in. I will get to you in a moment here. Thanks for your calls. I see you holding. Appreciate it. Carver with the super chat. I don't think today. Might have been one I didn't read. Thank you, Carver, for the Zelensky sweater fund. We're gonna get a snazzy. That's what the show needs. It doesn't need actual topics. Hunker down and research that actually make a good show. No, upgrades like a microphone and stuff to Nick's stream. No. We need a designer Zelensky sweater for the show to complete the look. That's what we need. Appreciate it, Carver. All right, y'all. I'm tempted to even just go to this call. And I will, I think, in a second here, but what else did I want to do here? What's up, Rumble? Rumble.com/American Anchor, baby. What's up, Big and Light Until I Rise? Appreciate it. You can hit me up. But wow, spoiler alert, TJ Hilliard. You guys are silent but partying, so thank you for chilling over there at Rumble. What's up, Steve, Mr. Mad, Becca, everybody, Raymond. What's up, everybody? You know what? I'm so tempted. I'm, in fact, so tempted that I'm going to press this button and speak to Hector out of New Mexico, I believe. Thank you for your call. You're on the air.
Hey, Nick. How are you?
I'm just fine. It's Hector out of New Mexico, correct?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I wanted to share a funny story with you. It happened a few weeks ago. I was, so do you guys have any taco cabanas in California?
Say it again. You said taco cabana?
Yeah.
Can't say I've heard of it. There might be, though.
Yeah. because whenever I used to visit, I haven't visited Bonn in a few years now, but I never saw any over there. But anyway, so there's a franchise called Taco Cabana, and it's just like a Mexican cuisine kind of a restaurant chain over here. And it was around right when they were closing around 10ish p.m. and I was in the parking lot eating my food, and I noticed a few trucks coming and going. They were coming and going, and then finally they parked. One of them parked like literally like 3 spots from my car, and then I noticed like these guys just like hopping out. Like, they were in the back of a pickup, and the guy gets out of his truck and he starts like unloading these guys. And then this other, I think it's like a Ford Excursion, he pulls up next to that truck, and then they all start getting into that vehicle. And I'm like, there's no way I'm witnessing some coyotes right now, dropping out some illegals. And I'm trying to get a better look at these guys getting out of the pickup truck, because they're literally in the back, and they're not secured or what have you.
The people that they're moving from one vehicle to the other, you're saying they're not secure?
No.
And they're stuffing them in?
Yeah, and so I was able to identify them a little bit, and they look, I don't want to point out the obvious, it looks like Mexicans popping out of that.
Like little, like particularly foreign, you know what I mean? Like, wait a second.
They look like
I know we're near the border, but hold on. Can you tell me, speak to me in English, please? What is your name?
Yeah, really.
I'm seeing taco cabanas here in New Mexico only, really. And, you know, I don't see them anywhere near the border.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, why did they choose a location like this to? I mean, I could see why now, because the parking lot was pretty. It's usually kind of dead at that time of the night, so they knew.
What's so weird about this? What is so weird about this scene? What is so weird about a dead of night scene of a vehicle, of a strange vehicle pulling up? Well, you know, it's just a vehicle pulling up, but stuffed full of, you know, little Guatemalans, little Mexicans, whatever, putting them into another vehicle to transport them elsewhere. What don't you understand about that? In New Mexico.
You know, well, the first thing, after they left, the only thing that popped into my head was shake my head at Biden. Like, this is the reason why everything's happening. But it's hard to believe that it could happen until you see it for yourself. It's so surreal. But I was so tempted to call the cops, but they were in and out, and they were gone, and who knows where they took him, but it was quick, though.
I mean, there may be, who knows what that would even do? Because in many ways, if that's already in New Mexico, in many ways, there's already a lot of legal activity. I'm not saying what you witnessed was this or that, but in a thought experiment for a moment, should you have actually witnessed, I don't know, transporting of illegals, who's to say it wasn't the government themselves transporting them? You know, it's like once they're here in the country, you're actually witnessing most likely legal actions. Yeah,
but the one thing that was for certain was it was very conspicuous. It was something that you knew that it just wasn't right, huh? You know. And
well, exactly. Yeah. That's why but that's the same MO with government sanctioned moving of these people. It's in the dead of night. It's undercover, and then they get caught by the media. The media comes out. There's some video, and it goes super viral. But I'll tell you right now, they're trying to avoid that. They're trying to avoid too much noise. As legal as it may be, they're here filing for asylum and all that. You don't want the bombastic reports getting the people all riled up, you know? Because now you got protesters out in New York. You seen this? There's people protesting.
Of course.
And all this.
This is actually the first time I spoke to you on your show. I've watched like
nice.
the way
First-time caller.
the way the network is lined up. How it's Jesse, Hake, and then Joel now on Tuesdays, and then you. Like by the time you get on to streaming, I'm pretty much like got my hands tied up at work. But I was
totally no, it's fine.
I needed to make some time before I forgot. But that's all I wanted to say though.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you calling my show. First time caller, making the time, showing that some love to the bot network, man. Thank you, Hector. And this goes right into what I want to say too, because some people I'll get callers, individuals. They all have their busy lives, but you'll notice, for example, one aspect. You'll notice we're noticers, right? And you'll notice, for example, what you noticed, illegals, etc. And then you said something interesting. You said, "Oh, this is like." Everything right here. This is what's wrong. And some people might hear that and think, oh, well, that's silly or ridiculous. This person's railing about immigration. It's some right-wing nut. But what people don't realize is what you're describing is that you see something beyond this particular messed up scene of immigration. It's actually representative of something much deeper. That's what everybody's really talking about. They're not really talking about, oh, the transgen. It's all a proxy for a grander thing that we're all kind of sensing. So thank you. I'm going to get into that. Appreciate your call, Hector. Call me again.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, proxies. Like you'll see these parents at these school council meetings yelling, right? And I'm saying what's already been said. These mothers out here yelling, "Oh, you can't trans my kids," but they're sending their kids there. But they're not even the trans issue and yelling about it in a council meeting, all of that is a proxy for, like I said, a deeper, grander notion that some people generally are agreeing on, that things aren't working right, they're getting worse, they're coming after the kids, etc. It kind of gets more conservative and MAGA, and it goes in different areas, but and it's all a proxy, right? So. We rail about crime. Knowing that it can be dealt with, okay? I think most people generally agree that there's no written law that'll change the hearts of men. I think people know that at some level. And there will be crime. But that's not even what we want. At least people like me yelling about it on a show, but and other people too. That's not even what we want at this point. We just want like a general look. There's still people in the country that want a decent way of life. Okay, and for me, that's enough of a justification to, I say fight, but not in the right spirit, but to at least, I feel like there's been a loss almost of a justification to want a decent and safe society. Like, think about that. The fact that we'd have to argue this and justify it and ponder it and face people who don't really want that. And we have to really challenge our own positions, etc. And the positions as basic as, okay, justify a safe society around you. It's almost like it's almost easy to lose it now. You think, well, people out here want filth, then let them have it. They voted for filth, let them have it. But there's still some of us who want a decent place, and that's enough, okay? Life is for those that are going to be here, you know what I mean? Let the rest be damned. Life, goodness, it's for the ones that are going to put some work in, right? And I'm not even asking for much. Change the hearts of men, we'll get to that. But can we have some rule of law? You know what I mean? And so, that leads me to get into this. That leads me to get into what I want to say. Everyone wants a safe society. Yep. Noticers. This leads me to what I get down, to recap this government shutdown stuff. It never happened. I mentioned this already. But there's this process, right? Republicans hold the House. They hold the power of the purse, they call it. Congress does. And they're trying to pass these bills. They got to fund the government. The holdouts in the Republican Party, the Freedom Caucus, they're like, no more messing around. We're going to fix things. So no more money for y'all until we fix it. But it didn't happen. Turns out McCarthy, and I already mentioned this, was able to make it happen. The Speaker of the House. And what's amazing is I mentioned yesterday about no Ukraine money in this stopgap bill, right? The temporary padding until they got to decide again for appropriations bills to fund the government for the rest of for a year. Okay, so they said no Ukraine. They got the Ukraine money out, but Biden, I was telling you yesterday, he's happy with this. He signed it. He's like, but we're gonna get to the Ukraine funding, right, y'all? It's just funny, like when the chips were down, we're gonna shut it down at the barrel of a gun, edge of our seats. No more. Wile E. Coyote hits the wall again. The tunnel, the Roadrunner drew a false cartoon tunnel, was able to run through it, and the Republicans, Wile E. Coyote, slammed into the wall, leaving a disc-shaped tumbling on its edge Republican Party. Anyways, whatever. And it was this huge holdout. It was this huge holdout for the border, for this 29% cut from spending. Yeah, right on. But now it's like none of it. Now we're getting none of that. None of that. And Biden's happy little self signing it with a little finger wag. We're going to get right to Ukraine. You know what that means, right? They're going to get it. Biden's pretty confident. It's called foreshadowing. Have you ever read a fictional story? Yeah, this is the foreshadowing part of the story. And I've already been telling you a little bit about the saga. Really showing just how ineffective anything in the government is right now, especially for Republicans, people who want to fix things a little bit. Is Kevin McCarthy toast? I reported yesterday a bit on this now vote to possibly oust Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. As a member of Congress, Matt Gaetz and others have the ability to call for this vote. Everybody has like you could play the trap card and call for this vote. And then it's just down to a vote. It's down to majorities, and it's down to just majorities in the House. Democrats, they're a team. They're a good team. And there's already people saying they're not going to vote against Kevin McCarthy. We're not doing it. There's people saying we're going to stand with McCarthy. There's people saying we're not. Victoria Spartz. Victoria Spartz. Who are you, Miss Victoria Spartz? I believe Ukrainian American politician. She is Indiana's 5th Congressional District representative. Born in Noviska, Ukraine. Spouse to Jason Spartz. She has his last name, very nice. But she seems to also have the pants. I don't know. Victoria Spartz saying she's a Republican, saying I will not table Representative Matt Gaetz' motion to vacate Speaker McCarthy and allow it to proceed to the floor, but I will not vote to vacate the Speaker at this time, and will give him one last chance to deliver on national debt, border security, 12 appropriations. So that's where we are. We're hoping once more. I mean, that's where we are, right? Wishing and wanting, hoping and wanting. Well, we'll give him one more chance. Give him one more chance, he might do it. But it seems like another date was set in the future to see, well, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Marjorie Taylor Greene promises to support Kevin McCarthy, won't remove him. So what's the best? What about the good of the people? Why even wasn't this the same Marjorie Greene who was all about, okay, yeah, we got to stop Ukraine. Okay, maybe I'm not part of the Freedom Caucus anymore, But hey, I'm still one of the people, and we're going to fix it, okay? So no more Ukraine. Hello? You're not even getting the 29%, the border. You're getting none of it. You're not even, there's like nothing. And you have nothing to say about this? Nothing? So people are voting against? Okay. The thing is that there were articles reporting this. I feel like I read one for you the other day. They were reporting that McCarthy, like this was a widely reported thing, that McCarthy may face an ousting by fellow Republicans. Like this was being reported. So this is not a surprise for McCarthy. It's all a big strategic game. And they always have a plan to save themselves, but never really a plan to deal with what's going on. Is there a plan? Inflation, they say. They call it inflation. They're talking about inflation. They say gas is $7. I've seen it this high in LA around here. It's all inflated. What are they going to do for the public? Shut down and inflation. Imagine for a moment the very reason this is even happening, inflation, okay? This latest shutdown saga, okay, it's the latest in an ongoing saga of mismanagement and the covering of behinds of these mismanagers who end up being replaced by other corrupt mismanagers. Okay, you have Congress, they write these checks, blank checks for these agencies. Okay, you got the spending of federal spending, right? You got all federal spending. Every year you got to vote on the discretionary spending, the spending that you get to appropriate with these appropriations bills, as opposed to the spending that is mandatory by law because laws were made to make the spending, like Social Security. So they're out here, right? They write these checks, and what invariably keeps happening, shutdown after shutdown or looming shutdown, the money runs out and Congress scrambles to make money appear. They're like, okay, we're about to run out. Make some more. Raise the limit, you know? You follow me? So how do you make money appear? You print it. Devaluing the money, inflation, okay? I'm not even talking about 2020, so-called supply issues, etc., COVID. Printing the money. What else does that mean? What else does that mean if they have to keep printing? It ran out again. We got to print more. What does that mean to you? You don't have to be an expert. This is what's beautiful. You don't have to be this expert. Oh, I'm a layman like you. I don't know that deeply about civics and laws. But what is a person who, when this deadline comes up, that's everybody knows is coming up, and it comes up and they're like, oops, and they act almost as if they didn't know it was coming up, and they're like, I don't know, give me more money. That's a person who has no plan. That's a person who's not prepared. That's a person who has no idea what they're doing or doesn't care. You don't need to be an expert to know that. These people in the government, they're like you and I. It means they have no plan. It means they have no clue what they're doing. And for me, the way the government spends money is less about the nitty gritty for me, because I don't want to pretend like I understand exactly where this money went and all that. It's just simple for me. It's like the way you handle money. It's a litmus test of morality for us, for the public. And what are they doing? They're here fighting for millimeters on these appropriations bills to shave off percentages. There's no plan, and you got to understand there's no plan. And like, what is this all? What is all this? What are we looking at? Department of Health and Human Services, whatever. Social Security, okay, I don't know too much about that. You know, I've done some cursory research. Seems like a failing business is a kind of a one way of describing Social Security. A failing, maybe almost corrupt business. Department of Education, like, who cares about? People are dumb. People are dumb today. $215 billion. Like, this is the spending they're doing on, and I'm supposed to. I'm not gonna understand the nitty gritty here, but I don't need to. I can see it's fools using all this money, and then of course Ukraine and everything. I can't tell you the countless amount of money just printed and all that, and just in such short amount of time. So no plan. But here's the thing: having a plan is not strategically viable, okay? Thank you, spoiler alert, always with the links. What's up, Matt, living the dream? No plan, never was. Congress. Okay, anyways. So, we haven't had a budget since Billy Clinton's. Is that true, Matt? I like getting insights and, someone filling up my knowledge of the political years I missed. Both not caring about life and being just, I guess, too young. Joel was a potty mouth with the sex talk. Check out Joel Friday. Joel Friday TV. But where was I? Let's keep the ball rolling here. No plan, okay? Interesting. We'll see what happens with the House. Will they do it? Stay tuned, folks, on this episode of... Yeah. So, what was I saying? Spending money, right? Like, I don't need the nitty-gritties. The same way you can, in your daily lives, you talk to people, you're dealing with people. You've worked different jobs. You've, exercised that faculty. You have even done some work understanding yourself. You're able to understand individuals and see what they're about a little bit. You can do that with the government. You don't need to know all the laws. It's not like they read it anyways. I showed you the other day, they get a huge stack of papers of basically like 7 books, and they have mere hours to vote on these things that will change the life, daily lives, even if it's incremental for the American public. But yeah, sure, I'll sign that. But cleaning house is not a viable strategy. Looking scruffy. I know. Does Zelensky ever get this scruffy? Does Zelensky ever let it ride? I mean, maybe he should let his beard grow. I mean, he's in a war. You want to really sell it. Oh, but even in a war, you shouldn't let yourself go, right? In fact, you should be leading by example. Cleanliness, godliness, destroy the enemyness. Anyways, not viable. Cleaning house, not viable. Because you're looking at a number of things that seem to be falling apart. Crime, etc., whatever. And I've already shown you that this is, not only have I already demonstrated to you that the government, different actors, largely don't want to fix it. Let me show you how, let's think about it a little bit here. Because what would happen if Brandon Johnson, for example, cleaned up Chicago? If cops arrested people and were empowered to neutralize criminals with expediency, simple things, cash bail, simple things, rules of engagement, I don't know what you call them for the cops. Is it the same for cops like military? Make it so they're not hamstrung. Proper police, okay? Giving them the ability to clean up the cities, etc. Then we would see that things can be clean and safe. That's the problem. If Brandon Johnson actually cleaned it up, let cops do their job. Something simple too. Just let the cops do the job. We're gonna put all this money towards this program. We're gonna fix it. No. Just undo a couple things. Just let the cops do their job. Maybe even kill a few people if they have to. Right? Their training leads them to do so. Then we would see that things can be clean and safe. Okay, that neighborhoods and businesses might improve somewhat, and that life can be okay. At least not where Chicago is now, but it can be livable. Businesses can thrive to whatever degree you might see it, but even in those neighborhoods, that people make a way, then we would see that things can be clean. Then he wouldn't be able to point to the neighborhoods and say, see, look at how they left us. Look at the money. Hey, look, Biden, look at this city. Look at these food deserts. We need money. Remember, Brandon Johnson has the First We Get the Money initiative. First we get the money. They're not even hiding it anymore. And immoral people can't even see through it. That's the thing about it. It's really all spiritual. So for us, it's easy to say that you got a mayor who's literally calling it the first we get the money, shove the money in his pockets. After how many politicians have done this to you, black people in Chicago? But it's a spiritual thing. It's not about showing them that. It's about forgiving. It's not about showing them my show and then showing them the first we get the money initiative. You know what I mean? It's about showing them the JLP show to forgive, and then get to my show. Okay. So that's what would happen. What would happen if he cleaned it up? Wouldn't be able to say everything he's saying right now, which is what got him elected, what got him power, wealth. Notice what would happen if, E-Verify built a wall. Then just maybe people would have to, start working themselves, making some babies. The government would have to incentivize making children, keeping people in the home. What would happen, though? What would happen? You wouldn't be able to use another one of these levers of society, okay? It's a lever of society. Think about it. There's the issues. There's reality itself. There's reality itself, and then there's your perception of reality. And your perception of reality is the lever which evil people use to deceive and control the public. Okay? So there's the actual issues, border, and then there's like the sides, the sides that fight. No, it's open borders. You gotta, no human is illegal. That's like the most radical. Oh, no, races aren't supposed to mix. I don't know. Anyways, no immigrant, keep a nation pure. Anyways, nations have borders. How about that? Nations have borders, and then you have the fight. You have what's actually going on, and then you have the fight about it. Oh, you got this representative, he's open borders, and you got this representative, and he wants to fix it. And let's watch them fight. Oh, he said what? Now look him do this court thing. Oh, now they're busing them. Now they're busing them. The lever to deceive and control. Okay. And notice inflation. Doesn't it feel a little bit, maybe I'm talking out of my, I don't know, maybe I don't know what I'm saying. Maybe it's worse is coming. But notice inflation, it feels almost at a manageable level. Gas prices, food prices, it's all pretty much at the, can we call it like the Uber Eats level? Eating fast food slop is as expensive as groceries in some cases, I'm seeing now. Gas, food, life is more expensive. So it's all more expensive, taking a much more significant chunk of your expenses here, but you can still live. Manageable chaos. You know what I mean? And everybody loves their slop anyways. Uber, hey, there's some of us who there's some of us who have set their lives up like moral, responsible people, and they can enjoy the luxuries of Uber. But how is it that so many just like in the system, rat race, poverty-minded people, just, they got it all. They got the Uber Eats, they got the Netflix, they got the subscription, it's like, you know what I mean? Americans are still spending like no tomorrow. How much of this is our own fault? Nihilism. Let's be real, okay? So they gave us the stimulus, okay? They gave us the stimulus money and the packages, and we were locked down, and so we're like, whatever, let's just eat more Uber Eats and more movies and blah, blah, blah. And we're already kind of on that train anyways. But it's just like full steam ahead. It's whatever. We're on life is on pause for 2 years. Okay, and then spending, inflation. Okay, we got stimuluses. People making crypto money. People running graphics cards and PS5 rackets, just making easy money. And then it just kind of not stopping. Americans still spending like there's no tomorrow. How much of this is our own thing, right? Because it's not just COVID, stimulus. It's like what the driver of it all, this nihilism. Is that what it is? Nihilism, just like, hey, keep spending. Like, how much of this is our own fault? Americans still spending like no tomorrow. And what are they spending on? Concerts, trips, designer handbags taking priority over saving for a home or rainy day. Interest rates are up. Inflation remains high. Pandemic savings shrunk. Yet household spending, primary driver of the nation's economic growth, remains robust. Isn't that good? That should be nice for the Federal Reserve. Oh, we got even more wiggle room. That's what they see. They see a robust workforce that's spending a lot. They see wiggle room. Okay, we can tighten it up to do whatever, I don't know, whatever venture they see these people playing SimCity with us, whatever venture they see fit. So you got to watch out for yourself. Get your bug out bike, okay? Forgive and save up for your bug out bike if you're in a city. Prep Ham Paul, thank you for your Rumble rant. You want to see the trouble we are in financially? Watch this sometime. A senator speaks to junior senators. We might have to watch this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
I might have to watch it myself. 8 months ago, House floor remarks by Representative David Schweikert, Arizona, Republican, warned the dangers of deficit spending. Yeah, I might have to check it out. Prep Ham Paul, thank you so much. You can Rumble rant over on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. Bug out bike. You get your bug out bag and you put it in your bug out bike so that you can get to your bug out location. Hey, they say, "Oh, get out of cities, get out of cities." No. I'm a 2023 nomad. No, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but underground operative, ready for when SHTF, and it's the EOTW as we know it. Get your bug out bikes. No, don't let anyone tell you can't prep in a city. No, I don't even know what I'm saying now. Where was I? Cleaning house, not a strategy, not a good strategy here. You got to keep it going. Manageable chaos. Americans spending like no tomorrow. We loving the chaos. We're loving it. We're eating up the bread and watching the circuses as it's all happening around us. So I don't know. It really is all spiritual. It really is all spiritual. We're all in this. We're all playing the parts. Okay. So that's what would happen. If you actually fix things, I think that's what would happen. Too many interested groups and parties. And so we could see all this too. I'm trying to keep it simple today too. Because I demonstrated to you a couple times already. You could see people, just their actions and their heart, yet remaining simple without having to understand the law and everything, every minutia of what they're doing. Like, actually really think about that for a second. People out here spending time trying to figure out civics and figure out the law and figure out the Trump election shenanigans and trying to, when it's so funny that if you just understood yourself, even a little bit helps. You can see where people are coming from, and that's all the protection you need. You would be able to see, like, I'm talking about even political stuff, voting and all that. You would see that it's like, yeah, they're saying this, but this person is revealing to me that they are an irresponsible person, et cetera, et cetera. That's like everything. Am I making some sense? Like, that's just an interesting side note. So we see all this, like I'm saying, crime. We don't need no stats. We don't call 911 around here. Liberals, look, there's people that don't want to reduce it. You think, okay, how do we fix it? Everybody wants the same thing, right? We all want a safer society. That's not true. That's not true. And I knew this. I should have known this deeper, but I filmed people telling me this. Like, it's funny to think about cash bail. Cash bail is like immigration. Like, people don't realize getting rid of cash bail. Okay, you commit a crime, accused of a crime. They're like, all right, you have a trial date, but we don't know if you're guilty because you got to do the trial. So here, put up some money so you can go free, and you come back, and we keep it even Stevens. You'll come back, you do a trial, and we'll go from there. That's what they do with the immigrants, right? They bring them in, except they don't have to put up money. And now the criminals don't either. The prospective prospective criminals don't have to put up money either. Just like the illegals, they come in, they get caught, they claim base. Oh, base. Ollie, oxen free. You can't catch me. You can't touch me. And then they're like, all right, here's your court date. You're going to come back, right? Same deal with the criminals and would be maybe possible criminals. The point what? Not only to demonstrate faulty policy, but also you got to understand it's not just faulty policy, but that we're seeing it in both places, immigration and cash bail, is not a mistake. It's a feature. It's a feature and it's on purpose. That's the point. Okay. And people don't want to reduce it. Not just government people, but your neighbors, your friends. They have a different, it's not just an understanding. It's like, there's only one explanation. It's the heart. There's a literal veil in your spiritual eyes that won't let you see that you're supporting evil. And this is what I mean. Let me demonstrate it. Let me demonstrate it here. I show you. You already seen this video.
Out here, carjacked.
I've never heard of anyone getting robbed.
The Seattle woman, these Seattle progressives, with their hands, with their fingers in their ears, going la 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 la. You seen this?
You know, getting robbed out here, carjacked.
I've never heard of anyone getting robbed.
Crime is a social issue that could be solved by giving people their basic needs.
It's not a thing that happens just on the street. People don't just come up and try to rob people on the street.
Right, you have this woman pretty much denying it in this just sick way. That's not happening, whatever. Are they bothering you? Which is so funny. I'll let it finish before I comment.
You walk around every day like someone's going to rob me every second?
Seattle decriminalized drug use, and then they criminalized it again.
Oh, my God. Who are you getting these facts from? You're from New York. Apparently, you're listening to the wrong people.
You could Google that one, lady. That's just true. That's not controversial.
I saw a lot of people shooting up on my way down here.
Oh, did you? Okay. And they were bothering you?
And that's the whole thing here. It's the denial, and then he's like, well, here's an example. And she's like, okay, well, you got me. No denial. It exists, but are they bothering you? And then we get a little bit more honest. I showed you the last time I showed you this video, a little bit closer to the truth with this woman. Saying, well, this is all happening because we did it to them.
Giving people their basic needs.
Because we're not giving people their basic needs. Because the social contract has been broken, as one protester said in this Black Lives Matter riot. So why should we care about burning stuff down? Check this out. I showed you that video. The thing is that you got to understand these white liberals or whatever, they're activated by the anger of the blacks. It gives them life. They too feel a sense of justice being executed and realize a sort of absolution through blacks' anger. It gives them life. Letting criminals out of jail is literally letting people free. This is how they see it. Letting people out of jail, not putting them in jail or letting them out. People who should be, in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of decent people who don't want crime around their neighborhoods. That's literally liberate. It's making the world a more freer, liberated place. By making a prison for the law-abiding people. But they see that as liberty. They see it as freedom. Louis C.K., remember this video? Open borders. This is good. It shouldn't be so good around here.
But my feeling is they should open the border, and just let them pour in, let everybody pour in, and then the answer, which is, well, then there'll be all these problems. Yes, there should be. It shouldn't be so great here, is what I'm saying. In America, it shouldn't be. It's a weird thing to sequester a certain group of people and try to keep upping their lifespan and their lifestyle. He's
part of this group of people. Him, us, all of it. Like, that's who he's talking about.
And just keep trying to increase that for this group of people, and then this pressure of people trying to come in so they can enjoy it, and then it gets worse and worse.
All they want to do is enjoy it. Look at all this amazing stuff, and we're keeping it from everyone. It's so funny because in the same with the same mouth is saying it's so nice here and everybody should enjoy it, but let's also ruin it. He's saying it's so nice here and everybody here people should come here because they just want to enjoy it. Let them in. They should enjoy it. But at the same time, he says it shouldn't be that nice and we should destroy it. So It's really complete confusion, not really logical. In fact, he might see it as logical. You might miss it, but it's actually the spirit of destruction. The spirit of destruction and death. But they see it as love. Okay, as you can see here, they don't want to fix it. They see it as retribution, all this. White liberals, they see it as literally making people freer. These people shouldn't be there. They're there because of societal conditions, and it's not their fault, and poverty, and white people, we did this to them. You know, the apparition that was saying that is white, and that's why I said that. But that's not me. I know some people say I'm white, but I don't know. Let me show you something, because you may not believe me. This was 2020, Santa Monica, the Santa Monica Promenade? George Floyd riots. I was there. Check it out.
Where are they shooting people? Exactly. What's that? Like, what was your cause? What's it look like we're doing here? We're just documenting stuff. I know, but like, do you support the movement? Do you support the movement? I am a white man, so clearly I don't have a right to say anything about it. I'm wondering what you guys have to say about it.
You're out here.
No, I'm here to support Black Lives Matter movement.
So what do you think about the movement going on here right now?
You don't have any right to say because you didn't go through the oppression, brother.
So what do you think about the looting going on right now?
I don't have a right to tell you how
Well, I
to feel about
appreciate it, sir. If you can't get a statement, then you take care.
No, my statement is that they have every
You're
right
not
to
gonna
do
tell
it.
them?
Black people have every right to be angry.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Appreciate it.
Come on, we got fire.
Do you live around here, Santa Monica?
I live in Orange County, actually. I have a friend who lives in
You came down here for the protest?
Yeah. The reason why I'm here as a white person is because I feel like white people have to step the up.
Oh.
It's time to put our bodies on the line, use our privilege, keep the violence from escalating, especially when I think
You
it's
wanted
our
to
job.
keep the violence from escalating, so do you disagree with the violence and the looting that's been going on today?
No, actually, I don't. What I disagree with is white people escalating the looting and escalating the violence. It is not our job to be instigators. However, I stand by the right for marginalized communities to lash out.
So I keep hearing violence is the only way to enact social change. Do you agree with that sentiment?
If violence is the only language that people will listen to, then I stand behind that.
What do you think about statistics that show that white people die more by the hands of black people than the other way around? What do you think about that? And do you think that when if white people were to revolt and act and react in kind, what do you think about that? Do you support also their lashing out?
What do white people have to revolt against? This system has been built for white people. It is maintained for white people.
Don't look like it.
It is here for the benefit of white people. I don't believe there should be a white revolt.
94% POC jobs. S&P 100, 94% of jobs. 94% of jobs. The S&P 100 went all to people of color. A concerted effort to not hire white people. This is their system, right? So this little boy, this strange little liberal boy was a nice person, but, obviously mistaken. Obviously mistaken, more than mistaken, agreeing with anger, justifying it. They're given life. They feel a sense of justice, and they see nothing wrong with it, destroying property and really, destroying the country. It's all justified. They see this as justice. America on fire is a beautiful thing. You got to understand that. I don't know, some weird boy, beef it to beef it. Some guy I met, honestly, weird choice of attire. I wouldn't wear such a shirt. But I don't know, boys will be boys in this day and age. Stop harassing 12-year-old boys. Because words are just words till action actually starts. But action speaks louder than words. But at the same time, words speak louder than actions because sometimes it's the right thing to do. What's up, Troy? How you been? That's funny. I remember that on... who's that fat guy? He's a nice guy. Fleckus. He's large with joy in life. But anyways, this little boy, I don't know, whatever she is. I think it's a woman. Well, if the people want filth, what can we do, right? If she wants filth and wants it to be destroyed, what can we do, huh? If the cops won't do anything and they're going to be hamstrung by the city, it's in that same video that I was reporting on how the promenade, however you pronounce it, the cops surrounded the area that we were in, which is quite a large area encompassing many businesses that were all being looted. And I could see in the distance this wall of cops. If I looked in 4 directions and I sat in the middle of a street, in the 4 directions, I'd see this wall of cops and lights in the distance. There was planes. Afterwards, when I looked up news reports, they were filming and aware of the whole thing from the get-go, when it kicked off to when it ended. Cops, and I made this comment during the whole thing. I was like, cops seem to have surrounded the area, but have almost keeping people out, almost made a nice little sandbox for us to play in as they rioted away. But anyways. I thought that was a boy, Joel. My bad. Soft little voice like that. I'm like, boy. Anyways. But what can we do, right? They saw it all. The cops didn't go in. They made the sandbox for everyone to play in. This woman boy here saying, let them riot, let them destroy. White people deserve it. What do you do? The people want filth. What can we do? I don't know. I think that might be a demonic thought. That might be a demonic conclusion. Because there are still people here who want a decent society. And civilization, civility, society is for those. As difficult as it may be to carve out of this insane world. And I'm not saying that it's not going to have its issues and hearts need to change and all that. In fact, it may very well be that's the only way to carve out a somewhat decent society that eventually, after many years, gets corrupt invariably. Shout out America at its creation. It may very well be that, from what I could tell, from what my stuffy academic readings, it seems like that's how nations, moral nations, are created. But what was I saying? What can we do, right? Well, they deserve it. Yeah, people deserve it. But like I said, there's still people who want a decent society. And wasn't it always that voting wasn't for everyone? Isn't it moral to take over for the good of society? Stop all this voting from everybody. Are there still some decent people in this country? Because if so, then there must be some decent places, right? Decent people make decent places. Don't tell me if you are in one in the chat. Keep it a secret. But yeah, shout out to, are you anybody in a decent place amongst decent people? Spoiler alert, what the super chat says, when blacks built America, why did they embed so much white supremacy? Talk about an oopsie. Good point. Spoiler alert. Built on the backs of slaves, built on the backs of blacks. What a myth. What a myth. What a myth of the world. You know, there's people. Weirdo. You know, this like weird, just like feeling way too bad for POCs type white liberal has existed for a long time. Edward Baptist comes to mind. He wrote about the evils of slavery, but was so offended by the lives of Lorenzo Ivy and Booker T. Washington, former slaves who spoke about how slavery is nothing. You can come up from slavery. It's about morality, decency, etc. Edward Baptist was so offended at their accounts that, hey, life goes on, that he had to, he wrote about how he made it his mission to to really tell the true evil of slavery. You got this guy who wasn't a slave reading about slaves going like, no, that can't be true. No, it was really bad, and I'm going to tell the truth. Built on the backs of slavery. What a lie. you could check out a video on the Jesse Lee Peterson YouTube channel. If you look up White History Moment, in fact, let me see if I can find it. White History Moment, Jesse Lee, was America built on the backs of slaves? It's a nice little video on a couple of things you may not have realized about cotton, indigo, rice, coffee, tobacco, and the industries that dealt with slavery and its effect on the economy and generational wealth and any sort of other maybe claims of America being built on the backs of slaves. You might want to check out that video. It's informative. It's a nice little White History Moment on the Jesse Lee Peterson channel where we do celebrate every year White History Month. You got to love it. But anyways, I think that's all I want to say about that. I got some other things for you. I have a funny little interlude here as we take. I'm thinking of, I still don't know how to work this. And I think I pressed this button and some people see ads. So I'm going to play a funny little TikTok video. I'm going to press the button twice. Maybe people will get ads and maybe people will see a funny little TikTok video as we take a little funny little break. I don't know. It's something to play. I don't know if I'm supposed to shut up while ads play. YouTube, maybe I should do the work and figure it out. But hey, YouTube, you're not making it easy. So I'm going to play a funny little TikTok video, I guess. The payoff is good. For those who won't receive an ad, it's a good payoff. The ending of the video. It's silly, but it's worth it. And maybe other people will see ads. And for those people, I am grateful. Thank you. Let me see how I'm going to do this. I thought he was going to show some of the Jesse video. What video, Cameron? Oh, of that White History Moment? No, just Google it. You can check it out yourself. In fact, I might even talk about it with a caller. But we're going to take a funny little break. How about that, huh? Let me see if I can get some tunes also, just in case. Keep, not so much dead air. What should I don't even know what to do here. I don't want to make it feel like Nick's stream. But who cares? Shall we? All right, y'all. Be right back. Thanks for sitting through the ad or whatever happens. Bye.
No, this isn't literally your driver.
He's freaking out right now.
He has to be dead.
Yeah.
Should I move my car?
Yeah.
Are you hurt?
All right, y'all. I hope that worked. Pardon for the interlude there. Haven't quite figured out the ads here. But thanks for holding on and taking a little break with me, huh? We got little girls out here crashing their vehicles. Where's the mom? Where's the dad? Sion with the super chat. Thank you so much. Says, why don't the country-loving conservatives take action? I don't think they love the country. Because if they love the country, they would put themselves in a, you've seen the sacrifices Trump has made. Anyways, I have a call here. I do believe I have a call. Frederick, Los Angeles, California. Thank you for your call. You're on the air.
What's going on, Nick?
Hey, what's up, Frederick? Thank you, sir. Thank you for calling.
Yeah. Keep on crying them tears.
What tears?
Y'all over there. Them conservative tears. Y'all losing y'all country, and I love it. But listen,
you love it. See,
black.
You always play this like double game. You actually love the destruction.
Black did build this country.
All right, let's get into it.
Black and slaves built this country, and I'm going to show you how.
Show me.
All right. You say, who do you say built this country?
Well, not slaves. It was built by
but who?
By the people who came here.
All right. Now check this out. What was the export that America was exporting to build America?
That's a very broad thing. What do you mean?
No, it's not broad.
Yeah, it's quite broad.
What were?
Yeah, you have a nation that's been around for hundreds of years. You're saying built an export that built. Are you talking about cotton? Are you talking
export,
about?
Yes.
Are you talking about cotton? Or are you talking about like that's changed over the years?
Tobacco. You don't know.
Yes.
You don't
I do know about tobacco.
You say you don't know.
No.
You say you don't know.
No, Frederick, calm down. No, Frederick, calm down. You don't get to just make a vague statement and then be like, "See, you didn't know what I was talking about. You didn't know it. You didn't know the exact crop I was talking about in 200 years of American history."
It's everything.
So calm down, Frederick. Tell me about tobacco. Calm down. Talk to me about tobacco.
Yeah, when you get scared, you talk while I talk. So I'm gonna let you talk.
No. It's your turn. Go ahead.
Yes, it was tobacco. It was everything agricultural from the South. They traded it to Britain to get textiles to build manufacturing companies. They used free labor from 1600 before oil. All the resources was agricultural. And who did the agricultural work?
Well, tell us.
Hello?
Tell us.
You know.
Tell us.
I'm asking you who you think built America. Who you think did the agricultural work for the 200 years to build Britain, Oxford,
You're telling me tobacco did that?
Tobacco, and then it was cotton, and then it turned into oil.
So you didn't even watch the video?
Oil came, slavery ended.
So you didn't even watch the video? You said you were going to watch the video on the Jesse Lee Peterson show and debunk it. If you watched it, then you wouldn't be saying cotton and tobacco then. Why are you saying cotton and tobacco?
Yes, I would, because he was wrong. He also said in his interview, if you watch this interview he did 6 years ago, he agreed that blacks built this country.
Who did?
He agreed that he was one of the students in the class.
But that's a different point. That's a different point than what you were just saying. We'll get to what you were just saying. You said someone. You said someone. You're not saying who. You're saying someone agreed 6 years ago. Who said 6 years ago?
Edward Baptist. That's what I.
Edward Baptist. Oh, okay.
Yes, that's what I said. I watched the thing you told me to watch it. Even he says it.
What does he say?
That blacks built this country. He's in a good interview, and they show all of these little footprints that debunked him. I got them written on paper. Let me get my paper for you.
But I never said Edward Baptist didn't say that. That's what he said. What are you talking about?
No, he's trying to say, no, you said he debunked that America didn't, slavery didn't build America.
You didn't watch it. You didn't watch it. You didn't watch it. Edward Baptist, you didn't watch the video. Go back and watch it. Edward Baptist was a person trying to flip the whole narrative. See, everybody, historians and people were commonly talking about cotton and slavery as things that were not good for the South.
They were
no. Let's make things. No, Frederick, stop right now. You're not going to confuse my show. You keep making it confusing. So stop talking right now.
The people
no, Frederick, stop. Frederick is on hold. We're going to make things clear for our viewers here, because he's making this very confusing. He's saying Edward Baptist, this historian who I brought up in that video in the Jesse Lee Peterson show, Frederick is saying that even he said that it was built on the backs of slavery. But what Frederick is not realizing is that in that video, the reason I even brought up Edward Baptist in that video was to describe how there were historians who had motivation to lie about slavery and make it worse than what it was. So of course, Edward Baptist would say that it was built on the backs of slavery, because he was the same person who I was saying was offended by the account of Booker T. Washington and Lorenzo Ivy, slaves who weren't making slavery to be so bad as Edward Baptist was trying to do so. So of course he would say it was built on the backs of slavery. Go back and watch the video again, Frederick.
I'm thinking you're confused right now. You need to go back and watch the video, because he had the opposite view.
Okay, help me understand. Maybe I'm wrong.
He said slavery wasn't that bad. He also wrote in his book that he had to put in there and he didn't want to, that women were paid by the white man's sexual attractiveness. That's how women were sold. And they had heydays. But he tried to act like, no, slavery, by the end of slavery, all the money was broken. It wasn't built off slavery. And that was not what you were saying. You were saying he had a different view of historians say slavery was built off slaves, and he had a different view saying, no, it wasn't.
All right.
Now you're saying, of course he would say it wasn't. Or it was when he's actually saying it wasn't.
Yeah, well, you'll send me that because maybe I'm wrong because that's not the account of Edward Baptist that I understood. He was saying he was so offended by Lorenzo. He said he's going to tell the truth of slavery. Anyways, Edward Baptist, Edward Baptist notwithstanding, not important. I'll let you say what you want to say. Edward Baptist notwithstanding, look, let's put that aside. Let's say whatever. Edward Baptist believed it was bad or not. That's not even the point. When I said that in the video, I was trying to describe the changing attitudes of historians. But whatever. Let's say Edward Baptist. Let's put
tell me the exports of America.
But you can't interrupt me in the middle of this, man. Let's put Edward Baptist.
You ain't told me where the money came from.
We're about to get into it. Let's put Edward Baptist aside and the changing attitudes of historians. Let's put that aside for a second. Are the descendants of slaves? Let's make it real simple, Frederick. The descendants of slaves, are they better off today or not?
We're not talking about descendants.
All right, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. You're saying the money. We'll get to that then. I'll ask you that after. You're saying the money. You're saying Edward Baptist, blah blah blah, nitty gritty on the money. But what about the cotton industry? Tobacco industries being wiped clean, and not even talking about the Civil War.
No, they traded and got rich from Europe. Everything all the labor was free. By the end of slavery, the 4 million slaves had more labor capital than all of North America's industrial empire put together. Period.
Which was wiped clean by the Civil War. What do you say about that?
If you want, okay, whatever.
You can laugh at whatever, or you can respond.
I wasn't going to call it argue with you with this because everybody know the truth. And those people down there.
But if it's so obvious and you know the truth, then you can tell me who. Then you can tell me then you can answer my question easily without saying, "Well, I don't know. I don't know, Nick. You're on your own. Everybody knows what I'm talking about."
What question?
Well, what did you just say? What are we even talking about, man? You had said something interesting though, and I had an interesting question. It really was, sincerely. You said
I'm waiting on the exports and how America got rich, or who you think built America, or how they got tobacco over there across the countries, and they got rich in Spain and Britain off of tobacco and kept on.
Oh yeah, being wiped clean. What about you? I said it was wiped clean. I said it was wiped clean, and you laughed at that. All those profits wiped.
No, you got tricked just like they're doing now, and they mined the money. The central bank and the Jews mined the money out and left y'all broke. They loaned all the slave owners money to buy slaves and to buy land, and then they put that interest on y'all. And by the time they drained it out and wanted the 10% off of the slaves, they wanted to tax the property. Y'all fought for it, lost because y'all thought Spain and them was going to have y'all back.
So these slaves that built America, where are they today? Where are the people that built America? Do they exist today?
They descendants all millionaires.
The people who built America, the people you say built America, do they exist today?
The people, the labor force does, but the money
you say that spirit still exists in blacks today or something?
Yeah, the labor force.
I don't see it. Where do you see it?
Y'all ain't gonna get out there.
Where's this grand America they're building that they once built? They once built America. Where's this grand cities and grand America they're building?
Y'all let corporations take AI and build tractors.
Gotcha. Someone else's fault. Okay, I got an answer off. I gotcha. Someone else's fault. I got an answer on that one. Last thing.
Agriculture is running by robots.
Gotcha. Someone else's fault. Okay, I got an answer on that. Last question.
It's innovation. It ain't somebody else's fault.
Gotcha. Loud and clear, Frederick. Someone else's fault. Loud and clear. Last question. Thanks for your answer on that one. Last question. Descendants of slaves, are they better off in America today? Yes or no?
No.
Really? Why?
The wage disparity is still slavery. The money these companies making and the wages they paying It's just enough to get by.
So
That's
you
why
don't-
they out there in the street.
Oh, gotcha. But even that's like, even being a street vagrant in today is like you're living like a king compared to Civil War era. So you disagree with General Robert E. Lee when he said that, you know, as much as he doesn't like the whole slavery thing, blacks are way better off in America than wherever they came from. You disagree?
No,
with
I disagree because y'all bought up all the property. The inflation done rose. The house that cost $50,000
It is a mess.
20 years ago.
I won't disagree with you.
So how are we better off? How are we better off as the opportunities go?
I think being a skinny, one of those skinny black vagrants, living it up. I don't know what they're doing. Is still, you know, you could say horrible for the soul,
Nick,
etc. But it's always been like
100,000.
that.
Me and you.
But it's
Nick,
still
I got
physically
100,000.
kind of a better life, kind of chilling. No real responsibilities. You literally don't have to engage with society. Like there's literally a society and responsibilities and consequences, and you don't have to engage with any of it. You could just decide, no.
And be homeless.
So that's one way of doing it, but you know they have their own prison and misery. But you see what I'm saying? Like that's always been around. It's just, I would say it's better in that way.
No, I don't think so.
Fair enough.
If you don't work, you don't eat.
Right. It's always been like that, but now it's even. It's always been like that, but now it's like way easier and way more decadent. So.
Yeah, you can play and be degenerate and run up and act a fool and get paid off YouTube. JuiceTube is breeding degeneracy.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right on, sir.
Yeah. But hey,
fascinating.
Let them keep on mining. They're gonna mine these immigrants next, and then once they run out of money, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be your neighbor, and both y'all be broke.
No,
y'all gonna be like,
no.
How does this keep happening?
No,
First it was the black, now it's the immigrant.
Bye to everything you just said. Here, I got one for you, Frederick. I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy talking to you because there's things that you understand. But here's the thing. But then the mask falls off. Then the mask falls off, and you reveal to us that you are like one of those destruction demons. When you say it's over for white people or whatever you said at the beginning of the call, and you love it. You said you love it. Why don't you have love and team up and say, hey, you know what? Look at these things that are wrong. Let's work for a better. No, you love the destruction. You love the end of it all.
Yeah, it's God's plan. Y'all loved it when blacks was in slavery.
I love what?
So I'm thinking.
What did you say?
Whites loved it when blacks was in slavery.
Why are you saying that about me?
Power, so.
Where do you get off saying that about me?
I ain't saying about you.
You said I love it when I loved it when.
If it was law.
No, you said y'all love it when whites. What'd you say when whites had blacks in slavery?
I said whites loved it when.
No, you said y'all. You said y'all.
Slavery.
Who are you talking about? You're talking to me right now.
You're an anchor baby. Come on, Nick. Don't
I know,
take
but you
it
said
personal.
y'all.
You're not American. You're not American. I'm talking to the American.
You're right. I'm a good guest.
The American.
You're right. I'm a good guest. I'm a good guest, and I love America.
Canadian.
And we'll let the Americans. We'll let the Americans decide.
The real American.
Yeah, but you're talking to me right now.
Make it clear. The real American. My bad.
Yeah, but don't be rude. You're talking to me right now.
Yeah,
Frederick, thank you for your call, man.
You getting upset because
no, I'm not upset. I'm
like,
having fun. I'm having a blast.
No,
actually.
When I call, you say I'm laughing because that's y'all's pain. But why do you have pain and you're not even from this country?
I don't have pain. Who said I had pain? I'm not feeling pain.
I'm laughing at y'all, but that's not.
Yeah, you're yucking it up. You're yucking it up and laughing at the destruction of America, which brings with it death and destruction. And you think it's hilarious. You think it's great.
It's God's plan.
But you also love it. It's not just God's plan. You love it and you yucking it up.
God.
And you're not.
Yes,
you don't. You not only love it. You said
God.
you love it. You not only love it. You said you
God.
love
this is how much I love God.
Right.
This is how much. Yeah, I love
Very
God
cute.
that much. Like that's how much you're supposed to love God.
Very cute.
All His work. I love you. I love everybody that
I love
much.
talking to you,
Like,
sort of. Not that I don't like talking to you. I hope it's not confusing for the people, but I end up having a lot of fun. We're talking over each other.
I never get mad in chat. I'll be like, let me show you something, how you've been deceived. And every time I tell them the truth, it hurts them. It's like they don't want to believe they've been lied to.
No, you're going away from what you said. You love the destruction of the country. You love
No, I didn't. I said I love God's word. Quit putting words in my mouth. I said I love God's word.
Are you okay with?
Now, Nick wants to put words in my mouth.
Don't worry.
Don't
Don't worry. We're gonna clear it up. No, don't you worry, sir. We'll clear it up. No. Don't fret. We'll clear it up right now. Are you okay with white people becoming a minority in this country?
I'm cool with
Are you
whatever
okay?
happens.
Are you okay with white people becoming a minority in this country?
I don't do.
Don't worry, we're about to clear it up. You said, hey, putting words in your mouth. I'm asking you a question. Are you okay with white people becoming a minority in this country? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't put words in his mouth. He said it himself. Thank you. Appreciate it, Frederick. Thank you for your call.
I believe that.
Thank you for your call. You know
If I
what?
agree with a fact, you get mad. That's a
I didn't get
fact.
mad.
White
I got
people
another
don't.
question for you. You know that lady in the
That's
video I
just a
showed?
fact, though. What kind of questions are you saying, trying to prove, though?
You said you're okay with. I asked you if you're okay. You said you loved.
How can I not be okay with what's going to happen? That's like saying, are you mad that it's going to rain next
But you
week?
don't know that. You're just
It's
saying
gonna
that that's what's going to
happen.
happen.
It's gonna happen.
You're just
If it's
saying
gonna
it's.
happen, it's
But you're
gonna
just
happen.
saying it's God's plan. You're just some person, Frederick, L.A., calling me, telling me it's God's plan. And how can I be mad about God's plan? And you told me it's God's plan. Help me understand that
If it's
logic
gonna
there.
happen, it's
You
gonna
told me
happen.
it's
What
God's
will be,
plan,
will
and I'm
be.
supposed to believe you. And you're like, how am I supposed to be mad about that? Anyways, Frederick, last question. That lady in the video I played who was okay with violence and for whatever reasons she said. Did you see that video? She's okay with the looting and all that. What do you think about that? Are you okay with the looting and the violence because it's for whatever purpose?
The skinny girl said she wasn't okay with it, but she was like, but she's not okay with the instigating. Is that the one lady? Or
Correct.
the
She
short-
doesn't. She's not okay with white people instigating, but people of color or whatever.
Or she wasn't okay with the violence either, but she said she don't think this should be instigated. I think.
No, that's not what she said. She said it's fine. She said it's. I asked her, is the looting the loot? She said, to be clear, she said like white people should work to not escalate the violence. And so I asked her point blank. So if you don't want to escalate the violence, what do you think about the looting going on today here at this riot protest? And she said it's totally fine, and for the reasons she gave, because white people, blah blah blah. So what do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about that. No destruction of property is good to me.
Okay. Makes sense,
But no
Frederick.
one's
Maybe you
making
aren't
the
okay with the destruction of the country. Thank you. Appreciate that.
What will be, will be. Don't pick sides.
I think that's
You will
true.
fall into a trap.
That is just a true statement, Frederick. Thank you.
All right. You have a good day.
Call me again, Frederick. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Am I even making sense? Just yelling at our friend Frederick. Thank you for calling, Frederick. Appreciate the call. What am I doing here, y'all? What's the purpose here? I'm not even making any sense. Maybe some sense. Thank you. Do you guys have a Stream Deck thingy? I do. I have a Stream Deck right in front of me, Harmony. What you know about streaming? Huh, Harmony? What you know about streaming implements and Elgato? Frederick wants to live like an animal, says Nathan. I think he wants the rule of law, but he's okay with like everything we talked about. Anyways. Hake is 67 seconds ahead of chat. That's true. We're privy to the live show here in the office without any delay. All Colombians are 100% American. He's a Marxist. Is he a Marxist? I forget. Yeah, he's trying to get at me. You're an anchor, baby. Like, hey, I came up with that. I know I'm a guest. I'm going to be the best guest with the heart of an American. Thank you, God. You can't get me down. You can't get me down with that. Huh? But he means well, I think. All right, y'all. You can call in 888-775-3773. You can call in. I see calls coming in. In fact, well, I was just about to get into, what was I about to do? I showed you crime. Trump! All this inflating of the assets. They're accusing him of this and that. Interesting thing with the judge. I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to do this real quick. Real quick first. Actually, no, this topic is about what we talked about. So Latin A in California, thank you for your call. You're on the air. Appreciate it.
Hi, Nick. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, no problem.
I wanted to say that I recently was lucky enough to get a little bit of history about how America was built on ingenuity and invention and the brain by people who were intelligent enough to put their minds to work and invent things to go from hand production to machines, so that machines would replace humans.
Yes, the
so
cotton
that
gin.
we wouldn't need slaves. So, for instance, in 1793, we had the cotton gin, we had the sewing machine, we had the airplane, we had the ice box, we had the steel plow, who was invented by John Deere in 1837. We had the telephone in the late 1800s, the phonograph, 1877, Thomas Edison, and the incandescent light bulb in 1877. We started to move towards the industrial era around, after 1760, when people were really, working hard at inventing things. They started that was their main job, was inventions all day long.
Totally. That makes so much sense. It really shows how disconnected anyone who disagrees with what you're saying is, because what an ego you have to think that this explosion of these nations like America was because of, flesh people. Not saying that they're not important, but you know what I'm saying here? You're just talking about labor. On the backs of slavery. You're talking about labor when it was things like the cotton gin and industry that propelled some of these nations like America to the state that they are in, right? The work of to put the work of many men into one. That's everything right there. Invented by...
We wouldn't have moved forward without those inventions.
Exactly. Who invented it?
Thank you for the call.
No, thank you, Latin A. Appreciate your call. Okay, moving the wheels. But anyways, the South. You can check out the video on the JLP show. Do we even need the stats of the industries of cotton and tobacco to know that, hey, blacks should be thankful? Honestly. And their story is I don't like this whole separation of the American story either. I know the races exist. I don't deny the racial differences and whatever, segregation, etc. Maybe people should be separate. I don't know. I don't like the separation of that classic American story, like black and white. It really is. Their story is linked together. If there's anyone that should figure it out, I hope it's the blacks and the whites in this country. They were supposed to be kind of an example, no? And I heard it was turning into an example of camaraderie and, just living in proximity and making a nation. Okay? I'm not asking for much. But that requires a level of decency, some understanding, love, Christianity, all the things that were pushing things towards that way. Cotton gin. Where was I, though? On the day the United States adopted its Constitution, the country grew no cotton. 20 years later, after the invention of the cotton gin, it still produced only a modest amount. Consumers, not just in Britain and the United States, but throughout the whole world of Europe, began replacing wool with cotton. The limiting factor became raw material, and the search for it soon became clear the American South was what today might be called the Saudi Arabia of cotton. 5% of the nation's total, far cry from being the whole wealth. I'm reading this from The American Interest. You can check it out yourself. The American Interest here talks about tobacco and how the wealth created from tobacco is not seen today. I believe it was Washington himself who said it was quite difficult to make tobacco a viable crop and industry with slavery because it required a specific type of personality to make slaves, viable. Meaning you had to be a slave driver. You had to be pretty mean. And the best slave owner, guess who it was? It was a black guy. I wonder how he got so good. anyways, the American interest here, if you want to check it out, describes how the wealth built by cotton itself was also not only far cry from being all of the nation's wealth, the wealth was eventually gone. Anyways, you can look it up yourself. I got, anyways, more calls. Let's run the calls. Art, Ohio, on the air. Thank you.
Mickey.
What's up, Art?
Bro, I'm all right. How you doing?
All is well, sir. Appreciate your call.
Man, I had to come through and lend you some help. I seen you getting attacked by the beard or whatnot.
It's crazy, man. I'm out here just on all fronts.
Yeah, I see. I'm like, man, let me go push up on the Nick show real quick and get the beard up off of
Circle the wagons. Yeah, I need the
I appreciate it.
Quick response force to move in.
Yeah, ain't that fun? But see, that's what we know. That's what we know about Frederick or whatnot. You know, that's how the liberals are. They say one thing, and on Monday they say one thing. They sound like they might be conservative. Then on Tuesday, they come back and retract it. Then they sound like they liberals. And then Wednesday, they come back and then they sound like they in between. So,
yeah, because I really think it's about, go on. It's about spiritual stuff, man. Anger.
Oh, yeah, it is a war between spirituality or between flesh and spirit in the spirit world.
Yep. That's why people sound different things, sound like they support different things. Because in reality, they always were one way.
Like that.
Their heart is that way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you check this out here. Ain't that crazy? He said that he's for the destruction of America. It just has me. It has me mind boggled. Where do these so-called blacks and these people and these whites that want the destruction of America, where do they just think they're going to be at when all this is going on?
I think sincerely, some people think better, like in a better position. I don't know. I've heard some callers, one comes to mind, a caller saying, oh, we're going to be, I don't know what you're going to do when we're in charge, to like Hake or something like that. And it's like, I think that's, on some level, there's some sincerity there. But I really don't know.
When I ask you, where do they think that they going? Where are they saying that they wishing and hoping for the destruction of America? I'm saying to the blacks that they can't wait. They gonna laugh and they think that they gonna enslave the white people or whatnot. And my thing is this: first of all, I mean that might have been said out the Bible or whatnot, but half of you alleged Christians don't even read the Bible, so y'all don't even know that text or whatnot. Where that saying comes up in the text or whatnot anyway. So my thing is just like I said, where are they going to be at? They're going to be getting tore up in drive-bys just as worse as it is right now when it is whites in control. If you can imagine how it's going to look when it ain't no whites in control or whatnot, or there ain't even just got to be whites, logical alpha energy in charge. You got a whole bunch of betas running around. You're going to have Houston, Texas 10 times plus. Meaning it's going to be worse 10 times than what it is right now. You're going to have Chicago, Illinois 10 times worse than what it is. So, wishing for the destruction of America, with not half of you blacks just wishing for the destruction of America, y'all ain't going to make it past the first wave.
Yeah.
You ain't going to. Ain't half y'all over you, the ones that's looking for the destruction of America. You out of shape. You don't know left from right. So somebody going to be able to trick you to come join their team just to stab you and kill you and take you up out of here. You know,
it's such a good thing what you're saying too, because what you're describing is what you're essentially the core of what you're describing is the question of what are you going to replace it with? Because I talk with Frederick and there's things we agree on. This is why I'm always so. I guess I shouldn't be incredulous, but I'm a little bit like, how can we be sensible about certain things like corruption, and yet it's almost like. You see it, but you're like, I'm okay with it. When it's like, what are you going to replace it with? Can we work it out? Can we fix it? No, I want to replace it with anger, and let's yuck it up when we're seeing it, all kind of fall apart. What's the replacement here? I'm reminded of Maze's call the other day, not on my show, But it's like, these white people made a mess of things. And like, that's somewhat true, but what's your response? Nothing. Junk.
Yeah. How are you gonna fix it? And what they call fixing it is putting with the governor in Chicago, or not Chicago, with the governor in California is trying to put in charge.
Yeah.
That lady taking over, that white lady that died in Congress.
Yeah.
They trying to put that black. That's what's gonna be in turn the replacement.
Correct.
Brandon Johnson in Chicago is gonna be in turn the replacement.
Correct.
Featherman down there in Pennsylvania, whatnot, where's the hoodies? That's going to be your replacement. A whole bunch of people, when you asking them questions of what's going on, they going to be telling you lies, stuttering, don't know what they talking about. You ain't going to be able to get the truth from them because they going to be scared of their own shadow or whatnot. When the SHIT hits the fan, they going to be trying to run and hide up under a rock. You ain't going to be able to find them nowhere.
Right.
And then these alleged blacks got this. We gonna all work together. You think that the so-called let's be inclusive, everybody. Let's accept the gays or whatnot. The gays don't accept you. As soon as you open your mouth or whatnot to say something that you disagree with them about, they cut you off. They don't even want to hear you on the news. So you think that in the time of when America is in the destruction or whatnot, and these so-called whites ain't in control or whatnot, you think them so-called gays and them liberals is going to be willing to hear you then? They wasn't hearing you right now? No, they're not. They're going to be trying to off you and kill you or whatnot. So I'm just trying to figure out
That's a good point, man. That's a good point what you're saying, because consider it. Oh, these people built it, right? They built it. They built America. Right. They built America. It's on the backs of them. But there is, like I said, no response here. What's the blueprint here? You don't even have it. The blueprint is this junk. Oh, LaFonza Butler in California. So how am I supposed to trust that blueprint? It looks like you're just going to build a messed up building.
Yeah. And just like I said, you calling for the destruction of America and all this stuff with this border or whatnot and all this corruption or whatnot. Just like I said, all y'all calling for that destruction or whatnot. Y'all better be some baby John Wicks out here. I know that.
Yeah, true.
Or whatnot. Just like that one caller that called into, or he made a little text or whatnot to Hector, and he said he was all for it and going to war. And then when he kept seeing people getting killed and people getting decapitated, he was ready to hang it up and come back to America. And he just the war wasn't for him. And that's everybody screams they want to fight until the fight comes. And then you can't find everybody talking about, well, who started it? How did we get here? How do we fix it? Like we was trying to fix it. Artie Art been trying to fix it for the last 7 years. Jesse Lee Peterson been trying to address the root cause of these problems for the last 10 years. Now y'all trying to win it. Yeah, 30 years now when the world is on fire and everything's a mess. Now you're trying to pass the blame.
So true.
When we know where it's coming from. Because, just like they saying about the border. The border has never been, there's always been a problem with the border. It's always been this. No, it has not. When Trump was in there, them 4 years or whatnot, he had put in order in place things that fixed it to where it basically had a point 1 to a point 2 to a point 3. You had to go to the first place that you came to seeking asylum, and you had to wait to the go to collect your $100. That was the beginning of fixing it. They came back and reversed it. So this is the type of people y'all want to put in office, people that don't know how to fix things. They only know how to destroy things.
Yeah. Seriously, man.
And then he said, what else did Fred Drinker say? He said something about it's just going to be what it's going to be or whatnot.
God's plan.
This is God's plan or what. This was already written. Yeah, I get what you're saying. This was written, but you idiots or whatnot. First of all, you would think you a Egyptian queen or king or whatever you want. You built the temple, so you wouldn't even know nothing about the Bible. If it smacked you dead in your face and then landed on John 3:16 in the verses, like you wouldn't know the book if it hit you dead in your face. So my thing is this. So even when I'm saying that. This the problem. I think there was a story in the Bible where they said that they kept trying to rush Father God to come back to earth, and that's what Frederica and these liberals are trying to do. That's what the devil's trying to do. They're trying to force the revelations to come true so they can rush God's return. You can't rush God. Only thing you're going to do is rush yourself to starvate, famine, destruction, and death. That's all you rushing. God's going to come back when he wants to come back. And y'all think that y'all rushing him to come back. He ain't coming back when y'all want him to. So y'all can keep trying to rush these revelations all y'all want to, keep playing these liberal games or whatnot, trying to reverse the laws of God or whatnot, like y'all making him come back. And he ain't coming back. You just making it, you bringing more evil to the earth or whatnot, and it's going to end up harming you. That's what they think they doing. They think they rushing the return of God, and he's not coming back on their time. It ain't how it happened. That's like me and you calling your mom and dad talking about, oh, I'm ready to leave Johnny's house. I'm done spending the night over here. Mm-hmm. Your mom and your dad is going to come back and get you when they ready to come get you. You see what I'm saying?
I understand.
I get it. Okay, Johnny's got to go to he got to go to his cousin's birthday party, so your mom got to rush back to come back and get you. What I'm saying is that if you just got over your friend's house, you supposed to be spending the night. And now all of a sudden you just don't want to spend the night no more. You call your mom back after or your dad back after they had plans, and you just think they just gonna drop everything that they doing and just rush back over to pick you up when you were supposed to be spending the night. That's what I'm saying. You're not rushing God back to this earth. So Frederica got all the little scriptures and everything written down all incorrect or whatnot. That we supposed to be on earth to basically do good and be patient and wait for him to come back and not try to rush him to come back, not trying to do evil to force him to come back. I mean, don't get it wrong. Evil's going to be on earth, but we ain't supposed to be pushing it to get him to come back. That's all I got to say.
I understand, and I appreciate your call, Art. Yeah, my thing is, like, how do you even know what God's plan is? I understand that there is a plan and that reality is so because he wills it to be, but you don't know what that is. And so that's kind of the secondary trick to the whole thing. It's like, okay, yeah, but you're saying that like as if you know what the plan is. Thanks for your call, Art, man. Call me again.
Yep, got you.
Take care. Moving the wheels. All right, y'all. Let me get into this. We're going to switch gears here. Let me do this quick story here. And then I'm going to get right back to the calls, 888-775-3773. I do appreciate it. I see y'all holding. I'm about to get to you guys. But I got to tell you about 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 just a little bit. As you know, Trump is embroiled yet again in another legal battle as the Attorney General of New York, 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎, who Trump calls a racist and a monster. She is a racist and a monster. She really is. And so the whole thing is, they're saying, it's so funny too. Every article you look it up, they'll go through this whole saga before finally at the bottom of the article, they tell you, what is this whole thing about? They go through this whole saga. Trump called her a racist, and 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 said this, and they said this, and they said that. And then they finally get to the whole point here, which is what's going on here. Trump is being accused of inflating the value of his assets by billions of dollars to secure loans from banks. And so let's break it down real simply here. You got a man who's making money. And he tells the banks, I want a loan. And the banks, in a consensual agreement, see the valuation and say, this is what we're doing. And nowhere in this relationship are the banks saying, hey, New York, we are not happy with the valuation, and this Mr. Trump individual lied to us. Can you figure this out? Nowhere is that happening. 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒏 has gone out of her way to uphold the rule of law and make sure that no one, not even a former president, a president, is above the law, is what we are told to believe, right? But nowhere in this relationship is these people who are supposedly hurt by this valuation of the businesses claiming such hurt, which begs the question, who is the victim of the crime? I guess 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒏 wants us to believe that justice herself is the victim of a crime, is the victim in this situation. And so she's here to swoop in and save the day and save Lady Justice from the clutches of Trump, is how we're supposed to believe this is going down, right? And so Mar-a-Lago, the president's property, as among other things, is what Letitia James is claiming was being inflated. Okay, now you're understanding the situation. That's really the basis of this fraud trial. It's what this is. It's a fraud accusation. Trump's fraud trial. That's the whole point here. Now, who's Judge Engoron? Justice Arthur F. Engoron. Interesting little clip I found of this judge who's presiding over Donald J. Trump's civil fraud trial. New York Times calls him an independent, thoughtful, if somewhat quirky jurist who has served for 20 years in the New York City Civil and State Supreme Court. It always happens when these cases, these high level cases hit the news. Eventually, invariably, what always happens is you get the headlines that come out, these news articles on who is judge, who is the judge presiding, who is judge blah, blah, blah. As the sides jump in trying to figure out, is this person really on the up and up? Is this really a rule of law type person? And like I demonstrated to you earlier in the show, you don't always need to know all the little nitty-gritty details of the law and be an expert to figure out human nature a little bit and can you trust someone? Kind of simple things, okay? And should you vote for someone, right? And in this case is a similar thing. You don't need to be this, in my opinion. Maybe you disagree. 888-775-3773. Once I play you this clip, you might disagree. But I watched this clip I'm about to show you of this judge in this civil fraud case with Trump in 2015 was doing a lecture, a presentation of sorts to college students. And he makes some comments here. And in my opinion, as a layman, I still have some of internal understanding to be able to suss out this guy here. Okay, what I mean is, well, let's just watch it. Because some are saying, well, look at this flashback from 2015 of this judge. Wait, this is the guy in charge of the case? Let's see what people are up in arms about, huh? Shall we? I think we're going to need Little Nick here. Thank you, Little Nick. Let's get to it.
Now, I'm going to say something controversial, even though I'm being taped. Juries get it wrong a lot. That's my own opinion. I do only civil trials, personal injury cases, contract disputes. But I've had situations where, like, oh my heaven's sake, how could they have thought that? Well, I have a tool that I can deal with that. It's called judgment notwithstanding the verdict. I can say there is no possible way that a reasonable jury would have reached that conclusion. And all right, am I following the law or am I making law? Okay, I'm following law. I'm an impartial referee, but it's hard to factor out my own emotions. And I have tools. Somebody can say, well, Your Honor, you have to throw out this case because it's just like another case. Well, is it just like another case? What if the defendant was wearing a red sweater instead of a blue sweater?
Now, this might be maybe it's a little unclear, the point here for you. Maybe it's a little unclear for you, the point. But the people, you got to understand, even justices of the law are people like you and I. And you might think, maybe you were following a little bit. But maybe, okay, let's say you weren't. You weren't following too much. But it sounded like a little bit like this supposed impartial reader of the law, as this man even said himself, as a justice, an impartial view of the law. His emotions get in there sometimes. And he may disagree with the jury, in fact, sometimes. He might think the jury's crazy. How could you think that? And so he says he has tools available to him to go around that. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know about those tools. There may be a time and place for that. I'm not going to pretend I have ignorance about these legal things. But we don't need, this is what I would also demonstrating in today's show. I don't need to know all those things because he's talking about being emotional. And I don't need to be a big old smart boy to know that in that influencing a justice is a problem. And you might think that's an impossible standard, Nick. I'm grateful that he's recognizing his own emotion. But that, I think, demonstrates, if you think that's an impossible standard, that might demonstrate the attitudes of the country at large. and proof of something worse. If you can't even think that that's a standard of someone who's a justice, to at least try to leave all emotion out of decisions and not at any point give way to some sort of justification to emotion, you should be able to just see that that's wrong. Juries get it wrong. That may be one thing, but being above the law and what puts you above it is your emotion, that tells you everything you need. I don't need to be an academic to understand that. I can be a layman and see that something's not right here. Okay? You know what I mean?
And by the way, I worked for the Columbia Daily Spectator.
He doesn't say anything else important here, I don't think.
There for a couple of weeks. What happened was I went there every day.
Yeah, there's nothing else important to this clip. But there is this conspiracy, they say, to get him, to get Trump. And I showed you Letitia James and her. They of
Never
course,
be afraid.
This clip makes the round when Letitia James gets talked about in the news. But it's a good one. And it's her basically running on getting Trump.
I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake. I believe that the president of these United States can be indicted for criminal offenses.
Will you sue him for us? Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the He's going to know my name personally.
That man in the White House who can't go a day without threatening our fundamental rights.
Yes, we need to focus on Donald Trump and his abuses. We need to follow his money. We need to find out where he's laundered money.
We need to find it. We need to find it. We need to find it, she says. She ran on this. She promised it. I mean, corruption, you can't even dream of corruption on camera like this. And here's the thing about this. You think, oh, there's this conspiracy. Oh, you guys trying to claim this conspiracy to get Trump. You mean all these people are in on it? You don't need a group of people to agree on a conspiracy, on a formal conspiracy, when interests converge. And sometimes the interests are as simple as anger. Here's how simple things can be, sometimes simple things can be that you can miss it. But when interests converge, you don't need to have a formal conspiracy of people saying this is what we're going to do. And sometimes your interests can be as simple as anger. We hate Trump. We hate America. Some people don't realize, haven't ventured into their subconscious deep enough to realize that that's what they're supporting. But are you following me? Their interests are, we hate Trump. There doesn't need to be a formal conspiracy to get him. You see what I'm saying? Anyways, I have Kevin, New York, on the air. Appreciate your call. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Nick. Hey, how's it going?
All is well, sir. Go ahead.
All is well. All is well. That's very good. Hey, I called in to talk to you about the Ark of the Covenant. The thing that made me call into that was something that happened a little bit ago. I think it was, in fact, probably exactly a week ago, where I was listening to Bill Lockwood talk about the Ark of the Covenant on Jesse's show, and how the United Nations basically made their own sort of perverted, form of the Ark of the Covenant.
Oh, you called about this on a different show, I think, right?
I think so, but I don't think I really explained it all that well.
You're gonna have to, help me out. Ark of the Covenant. I don't know too much about that.
Oh, it's really, really interesting, and it even feeds into what I called you about last time, and how I realized that that some things are in the Bible are seemingly formulaic.
Oh yeah, yeah. I kind of remember that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the Ark of the Covenant itself is an example of just that, because when you get into the contents of the Ark of the Covenant, it has to be said in order. I'm glad that Bill Lockwood himself recounted it exactly as it was, because the contents first of all, is the broken tables of the law from Moses, Aaron's staff that budded, and the golden jar of manna. Now, in my opinion, this is symbolic of so many different things, and the ideology that I have nowadays that the Bible is incomplete. But it's also, it should be seen that God has given us 3 dispensations of Scripture, while also answering the question on why people even think that there's a Trinity. Now, to be more specific about all this is that the 3 dispensations of Scripture, in my opinion, is the Old, New, and the Apocrypha text. Okay? That is also pointing to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Okay? And so going back to the 3 contents of the Ark of the Covenant, the broken tables of the law, which is from Moses, is obviously from the Old Testament. Aaron's staff, which Aaron is obviously Moses' brother, but look into the life of Aaron, you realize that Aaron was considered to be a high priest at the time. And so it is symbolic of Jesus Christ, who is our high priest. And the very fact that his staff had, quote, budded, symbolic of how Jesus would come into this world in weakness and return in strength and glory. Okay?
Gotcha.
Are you with me so far?
I'm following. So the staff and its representation and its connection with Jesus, you're saying that's deep? What are you calling it?
I'm sorry?
You called it deep? That connection?
Oh, I hope my connection is all right.
No, I'm asking. I'm following so far. You're describing the texts, some that aren't included in the Bible, the incomplete works. You're describing the staff of Moses and its representation of how Jesus, how that represents, is a symbolic representation of how Jesus would come to man. I'm following so far.
Yes.
Am I on the right track here?
I believe so.
Would you call that? What do you call that? Like that understanding? Like, is it like? Did you call it deep, or did I mishear you?
I don't know what I would call it. I believe that this is somewhat of possibly a revelation from God, only in the sense of its consistency.
And what did he reveal to you?
Well, that the contents of the Ark of the Covenant is showing us exactly that there is the 3 dispensations of Scripture, and that these 3 dispensations of Scripture are also the meaning behind the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
And why would God want to reveal that to you? What's the purpose?
Just going back to there's many reasons, but going back to what I first said, I believe that the Bible is incomplete without the Apocrypha. You know what I mean? One would just have to check out the... Oh, well...
I'm not entirely... I don't entirely know what you mean. I understand what you're telling me. You're saying you feel you've been revealed, God revealed to you that the Bible is incomplete, Apocrypha, all these things. You're making the connection between the serpent and the staff and Jesus. For example, that connection between the staff and Jesus. What does that tell you? What does that reveal to you in your life?
Well, that just Well, I just think that it's interesting. That's all.
So what purpose did it play? What was God trying to tell you in revealing that connection between the staff and how Jesus would come?
Well, it goes further than that, because as we've only talked about 2 contents of the Ark of the Covenant, the third one is pointing to the completion of what people think is the Trinity, the Holy Spirit being the third part of that.
And so what?
But the Holy
so now
Spirit
you understand the Trinity.
I believe that's the way that it's supposed to be meant. To be understood.
Through this revelation, you're telling me you now understand the Trinity. God revealed it to you.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to sound like I have an ego over this thing.
No, I didn't say you did. I'm just asking you a question.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just don't want to.
You know that the Trinity has been revealed to you.
Well, yes.
So what is it?
The Trinity is purely a man-made term, but I mean, as people throw around the word Trinity, there's still the fact that that word isn't even used in the Bible, but there's still the fact that the Bible does say that there's three that bear record in heaven: the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But you know, that shouldn't be pushed any further than what is said right there.
And what's the purpose? What is God telling you? Because it sounds like you're telling me you're having this connection with God and communication, this understanding. But what is it that you're understanding here? What is this mystery what has been revealed to you? I'd like to, this sounds fascinating, but it's unclear to me. What is God revealing to you? What is he trying to tell you?
Well, many things. For example,
give me one.
Like that not only modern day, but theologians of the past have been wrong about their assumption of what is valid in the Bible and what isn't. You know what I mean? Because they've been extremely arbitrary when it comes to the selection of the canon. And I think that I have a much clearer understanding of what has gone on in the Bible because I've dwelled into apocryphal books as well, which I've been trying to make the point that these apocryphal books should be seen as the testament of the Holy Spirit.
So God revealed to you which books are fake and not?
No, it's just that.
Oh, so he didn't even do that.
Almost.
So everything you just said is not true.
I don't know what you're trying to say, but
you said I asked you, what is it that God's trying to tell you? What's he telling you? What's the message? And you're telling me that it's now you know that the Bible is incomplete, and you know this through apocryphal studying or whatever. But so and then I asked you, so you know exactly which texts are from God and not, and you said you don't really know. You actually I don't really know. So what did God reveal to you? It sounds like you just read a bunch of apocryphal stuff and you're like, oh, wow, so this stuff is what they left out. But you're not really sure.
I don't know how to explain it other than to say that I know that it's true. You know what I mean? We learn things from other people, but then it doesn't really. I understand. It doesn't really mean anything until we know it for ourselves.
And what does it mean?
You know
what is it? And so, but now you do know it for yourself, and it has a meaning.
Yes.
And what is that meaning?
Where do I start?
Start somewhere. Start at the beginning. Like, help us out. Start somewhere.
Well, let's just put it like this. Because there's been so much debate over valid or invalid books, that it's an unfair standard of justice if we don't give it the benefit of the doubt at first.
But you don't need to give it the benefit of the doubt because it's been revealed to you which one's the truth or not. Or what's the point here? What I'm trying to describe here is that what I'm trying to understand here is, like, I guess, what is all this Trinity apocryphal stuff that you're reading and all that? How's it? I guess to steal from Jesse here, but it's a great question. How's that helped you personally?
Well,
what have you learned? I guess that you can impart to me.
Oh shoot! I learned how much I don't know.
By the way, thank you for your call. I'm having fun. Thank you, man. By the way.
Yeah, because I've like I told you before when I called last time. Like,
yes,
You know, I have to constantly look at myself when it comes to this. You know what I mean? Because anything that I might arbitrarily label as revelations from God, like, I have to realize that that's not because of me that happens. It's because of God.
But I was just trying to logically understand here, like, if God, because you're telling me God revealed this to you, but if God revealed this to you, then it would be, you wouldn't have to study. It wouldn't be so, you're telling me God revealed this to me, but actually I don't exactly know which text or not. So what an imperfect revelation from God, don't you think? I have to keep studying to find out the apocryphal text to find out which one was real or not. But God revealed it to you. Like, it's not making sense. I don't think God, why would God reveal that to you anyways? Why would God reveal to you, by the way, the Apocrypha? That's, oh, well, thanks, Father. That's going to help me in my life 2023. I'm trying to figure out why do I act this way or that way? You know what I mean? It seems like unnecessary. Why is he? I feel like God would reveal things about you in your life today.
Yeah, you could definitely say it. You could definitely say it like that.
I could be wrong, but you know.
But the way I think about this is that this sort of method that I've used about researching it and developing it into my own life. Well, it was the beginnings of me trying to step back from what's been taught to me by the world, especially the church, because they've been wrong. You know what I mean? I grew up Baptist, and then from the very moment that I could think for myself, I'm like, all right, there's all these other Christians, but how are there so many denominations within Christianity who all have their own version of fill in the blank?
And you think God wants you to figure that out?
To a certain extent, yeah.
Really?
But through the outcome of stepping away from the world.
Okay, let me hit you with a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Let's say you had a son, and your son was taken away from you by the evil mother. You made a mistake. You made a baby with the wrong woman, and she's like, you can't have him, and he keeps him away from you. And then years later, he wants to come back and talk to you, and you tell him, okay, we could talk, but only if you remember what it is that your mom and I were fighting about all those years. You know what I mean? And you expect him to have those instructions or information. That's like God expecting you to figure out what man did and wrote and all this mess and this and he said, she said. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. You don't think, wouldn't you think, like, don't you think God would, like, give you everything you need?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
As opposed to having to seek outwards for the answer?
You know, somewhere, I'm glad that I've learned this stuff, because somewhere within apocryphal books contains even more words from Jesus than we get from the Bible. For example, Jesus says simply that he thanks God that he has revealed his ways to mere children.
And what are his ways?
Than intellectuals.
And what are his ways?
Love.
Interesting.
And to,
all right, Kevin. Well, thank you for that, man. Say again.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I wanted you to finish your statement, though. I cut you off.
Oh, I wasn't sure what I was going to say next, honestly.
Man, Kevin, call me again. Awesome talk. Super interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Have a good one.
You too. Don't hesitate. Everyone. Yeah, for sure. Take care. Fascinating. McCarthy, breaking news. Do we have breaking news on McCarthy? Man, Kevin, thank you for your call. Don't get it. I wouldn't get into so much like intellectual knowledge. If I had the words to tell you, man, I would, but it just felt empty, and I can't go beyond that. But that's what I'm understanding. McCarthy, do we have McCarthy ousted as House Speaker in an unprecedented removal from post? Wow. Here I was talking all this ish. It just seemed like that to me, right? You think you got this speaker. He's worked his arse off to be where he is now. And you're telling me he didn't plan for the Freedom Caucus to try and oust him when they were reporting about it for weeks? It's looking like is this for real? What does this mean for us, huh? We'll see. But it's not like it's working for us, so who cares? Bye, McCarthy. It's official. Kevin McCarthy ousted from his post as Speaker of the House. We might get into that tomorrow, y'all. I do appreciate you being with me today. Hope you enjoyed the show. I loved it. Thanks to the calls. Thanks to the Rumble Rants. In fact, I got a new one here from Being Enlightened Till I Rise. Rumble Rant on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. Says, just throwing support, man. Great show today. Much appreciated. Being Enlightened Till I Rise. And I appreciate everybody's super chats. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. We have, from spoiler alert, those were invented on the backs of slaves. Thank you. Thank you, spoiler alert. Sion, lovely Sion with the super chat. Speedy, that's what it all comes down to. They don't love their country. TGWH, risking it all. What does that stand for? I was hoping the so-called patriot would back him up. Thank you, Sion, for your super chat. The lovely Sion. Spoiler alert says, might as well say horses built America. Yeah. It's like, did we just throw logic out of the window here? You know what I mean? Spoiler, every town and city in the United States was built by white people. Yeah. Thank you for the super chats, y'all. And the calls. I'm going to have to get to y'all tomorrow for more American Anchor Baby Wednesday. You got to love it. After Hake Report and the JLP Show Manhood Hour. All right, y'all. One final sign-off. We do love it. 3-4 sign-offs before I actually go. I don't know why I always do it this way, but I do. Well, y'all, let me do the Houdini, whodunit exit like a ghost. Peace. See you tomorrow.